Does that look okay? Expert? Sorry? Red lights generally are bad. Is that okay? Red. Oh, check, check. Come on. Cool. That'll do. So, good evening, everybody. All right. Thanks for coming, everybody. This is actually our first birthday. It was. We were going to do something a bit more special, but I only realised this afternoon, and Ben didn't realise till the pub. So there we go. So thanks for Amsys for hosting us again, because they host our first one as well. So they come full circle. So who's speaking tonight? First off, we've got someone from Amsys talking about Macaduck. Richard. Macaduck, right, there we go. And then Richard's going to talk about Swift He's from Amsys as well. And after that, we're going to learn about automation with the JSS from Mr. Ridsdale. And yeah, maybe we'll see how it goes. And then I'm going to talk about Imagr. So without further ado, over to our first speaker.
Right, Ben, can you check, see the sound issue we had last time? Can people hear us? Has anyone said they can't hear us? Anyway, well, you guys can hear us anyway, so so this wasn't a, yeah, probably. So this wasn't a full-on presentation. This was just a couple of minutes about macad.uk. It's been, yeah. And obviously, yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. So just a couple of points about this conference. So although we've run much smaller, more intimate conferences in the past, this is intended as a much, much bigger conference for London and you know, Europe. We're getting lots of people across from the States as well. And intended to be sort of up to, it's limited to 400 people this time, see how it goes. It might grow bigger than that, who knows, but yeah, just intended to be a nice big Apple conference for the UK, which is definitely lacking. It's going to be in February, so that means bring an umbrella and a coat probably, but regards to speakers, I'll find my mouse. So a few people are actually here tonight. We've got Graham, Ben, and then James. If we click on... What?
Wow.
What? What?
You won on that one.
And a whole list of other speakers.
I
don't know where that photo came from. It's just obviously, yeah, the one. Oh, there you go. Yeah. It's kind of intended. Someone asked me the other day, what kind of conference is it? Is it a bit like JNUC or is it a bit like PSU? I'd probably say more in the PSU camp than JNUC, although it has elements of, there's certain things that JAMP guys do really, really well at conferences. And so we're definitely going to steal all those good bits. PSU being just more open, more cross-platform. It's not a Casper conference. It's about Casper and Monkey and 1,000 other different technologies. So generally, anyone that's involved with Macs should come along. Apart from that, I said it It's in February, 400 tickets, 9th and 10th. 9th and 10th? 9th and 10th. And we've only got one more day of early bird ticket pricing. 2 more days of early bird ticket pricing, which is £100 off. So, and that's it. Bit salesy, sorry. So, okay. That's me done. So, over to someone else. Yep. And then stick down your pocket and just.
Let's back out. Okay. Bit too technical. Cool. Okay, well, hello, I'm Richard. I'm here to talk about Swift. I've got, what, 15, 20 minutes to talk about this, so not much time, so I should see what I can do. So before I start, any coders here? Anyone? Cool, yeah, so yes, don't think so, James. So what are we coding? What languages are we using? Amsys, brilliant. I love you. Excellent. Python, I guess. Python Swift, excellent. Any more? Bash. Okay, excellent. Okay. So basically, quick overview of kind of Swift. Got 15 minutes. Just kind of go through some of the highlights. Okay, so this time, June last year, Apple got the big bombshell that they're going to introduce a new language called Swift. Slightly annoying. I spent 7 years learning Objective-C, and then they kind of bring this out basically. So the idea behind this was to bring out a new modern programming language. Has anyone used Objective-C at all? A little bit, yeah. So it's excellent. Don't think so. It hasn't got, well, okay. So if you're new to programming, or even if you come from another platform, the syntax it's got a unique flavour with syntax. But it's been around for 30 odd years. It's done Apple very, very well. But now Apple wanted to go next generation. So they announced Swift. And the idea was they'll run these 2 languages in parallel. Okay, so we've got Objective-C for the legacy stuff. We've got Swift going forward. But they are interchangeable. They're both kind of first-class systems at the moment. So every platform supports both languages. And in fact, every new platform they've released since the announcement, like the TV last night, tvOS, and also the watch supports both platforms. Okay, so they're both here to stay, but clearly Swift is the future. If you're watching in the keynotes and the demos, all the demos done in Swift. Okay, so it's also the future. So why did they do it? Well, it's mainly kind of legacy, really. Objective-C has been around for 30 years. In fact, Objective-C is actually 2 languages. You've got C and Objective-C, which is kind of bolt on to C. And C itself has been around 40 years. Objective-C has been around 30 years. It served Apple very well. I mean, OS 10 is based on it. It's been built on it. iOS has been built on it. All the apps in the App Store virtually have been built on it. But Apple can't modernize it as fast as they'd like to. So they had the choice of either have this slow pace of Objective-C or start again. So they started again, and we got Swift. Okay. So should you Objective-C developers be worried? Well, probably not for long term anyway. So this Objective-C is still going to be around for a long time. Apple don't want people rewriting their apps from scratch. There's no point doing that. It doesn't make commercial sense. However, if you've got an existing app, you can extend it with Swift. You can add new functionality by Swift. Or if you're going to start again, you've got a brand new app you want to build, then Swift is now obviously, it's probably prime time now to start using it. Okay. So why Swift? Well, there's many kind of headline points of why they've kind of gone down this route. So one of the main reasons is kind of syntax. If you come from things like Python and other languages, Objective-C is so different to those languages and syntax-wise. There's certainly in our courses, people do struggle sometimes with the syntax. So Swift is more like other languages like Python, etc. Anyone heard of Haskell? That's the other language out there. So it's quite simple for that. So it's got a much cleaner, easier to use kind of syntax. There's many, I won't go through all these, but there's many things that can make it simpler. So for instance, with Objective-C, you normally edit a pair of text files and become pairs. With Swift as a single file, so you've got half the files to maintain. A great time saver is semicolons. Most programming languages want semicolons at the end. Swift doesn't need that. I mean, there's a whole host of reasons why kind of Swift is a much more modern kind of platform. Okay. So I mentioned kind of how clean it is. I mean, here's an example of a template from Xcode. So this is a template to create a command line tool. So left-hand side is Objective-C, right-hand side is Swift. They both did exactly the same thing, came from exactly the same template. But you can see Objective-C one, a lot more baggage involved than the Swift one. So you can ignore the green text, such as comments, but everything else, it does the same thing. So you tend to find that with Swift, there's a lot less kind of what's called boilerplate code, and kind of the basic code you need to get things up and running. You don't need to code that much. Okay, so it's a lot simpler. Who knows Python? Who knows Python? So if you come from Python, you're going to find some similarities actually. So I've got some examples of kind of syntax. So on the left, we've got some Python code. On the right, we've got some Swift doing the same thing. So this example is just creating a string. Very, very similar, apart from obviously Swift has got the var term in front of that line. We've got a variable, again, setting like a numerical value, like an age. Again, very similar, apart from Swift just has a var term in front of it. Here's an example, just comparing two strings. And again, very, very similar. The only difference is Swift kind of enforces curly brackets to kind of enclose what you're doing. But apart from that, again, the syntax is almost identical. We've got an array here, so an array lets you store multiple values. And again, the syntax for the array is identical to Python, almost, apart from the var term. And we've got a loop at the bottom that kind of goes through that array. And again, very, very similar, apart from Swift enforces brackets, basically. So if you come from these sort of languages, you're going to be pretty much at home straight away with Swift, basically. Okay. The other advantage of Swift is because it's brand new, Apple managed to optimize it for their platform, much more than to do with Objective-C. So it's been designed from the ground up to work on ARM and the Intel 86 platform. So it's been really optimized, and in fact, not always, but pretty much a lot of the time, the same Swift code will outperform Objective-C doing the same task, basically. So there's a kind of a performance benefit as well. Okay, and also Swift is designed to be safe. Okay, so there's lots of fundamental errors developers can make. I won't go through all of them, but there's things like passing the wrong type of data, not setting up data correctly. So a lot of these kind of fundamental errors are tracked by Swift pretty much straight away. You normally can't compile the program until these errors have been kind of fixed. With Objective-C, you can normally sometimes compile a program and they don't appear until runtime, then you get the errors basically. So Swift does try to trap a lot of these errors and write it up front basically. So this is a matrix that Apple code when they released it, or announced it. It kind of shows you two types of languages. You have kind of scripting languages like Python. So they're kind of very productive. You know, there's not a lot you need to do to set them up and get them running. So you can do things very, very quick with those, but you don't necessarily get access to all the kind of advanced features of the platform. Whereas in traditional kind of programming languages like Java and C, you get full access to the hardware, all the features. They're very, very fast, but it's quite a lot of effort to get them running. So obviously, as far as marketing goes, Swift sits very small. It's very productive. But it's a bit like Python, you can do a lot of things very, very quickly, but you get the full advantage of full programming language platform. Okay, so everyone wins. Capability-wise, so it works on iOS 7 or higher, and 10.9 or higher. Okay, so that probably covers most systems. There's one word of warning though. So actually, last year or so. So it's an ongoing. Apple work kind of ongoing changing and updating Swift. Okay, it's only a year old. It's been for a couple of versions already. So basically, what they're saying is that if you have an app precompiled, it will carry running, but they can't guarantee your source code will be compatible going forward. So they quite often change syntax over the last few months of voice commands. So if you recompile the program, there are some kind of fixes and change basically. So I've got an example of one of the commands which has changed quite dramatically. So this is a command that basically counts the number of characters in a string. So when the cut came out, we had a command called element, counted the string, and it turned how many characters it's got. We're now on Swift 1.2, so that's the current version for next week or so. say, notation to range, which can be a bit of a headache. So that's one downside. Apple's supply migrator. So the code, when you open up an old project, you should go through and do a final place. So when Swift is the style. There's all sorts of applications. So platform. Okay, so Swift, we've got quickly. Playground in it, so yeah, very fun. Something and then you actually create Swift scripts that you do Python scripts on a back. Focus is the next code. Okay, so So Xcode is the main focus. This is the main map. Okay, so all the framework, all the features, and what you kind of build your native app, access to the App Store. Stores, and obviously you can put enterprise that. So these are kind of the main focus. Okay, and you get the full suite tools. Okay, to build native app. We've got Xcode, which is the environment where you write code. Then we talk called interface builder, which lets you design your UI, so you can your user interface, application. Instrument, which is a program to monitor the performance of your bottleneck somewhere. You can monitor it and detect if it's a RAM, like a RAM or a CPU or something like that. It comes with a simulator to run the iOS app on the Mac in a simulation mode. So, massive set of tools which are available to you. Has anyone signed up with Dev Program? So you've got that. So yeah, should be all us. Actually, so yeah, so they just recently changed the developer program. So there's a free program for you cheapskates out there. So so the free program, you get access to the tools, UK documentation. You will be able to run your iOS apps on your own device using Xcode 7, so that's going to be a slight change. But what you don't get access to is the stores. Okay, so you don't get that. But just recently they've merged one of the programs. There's now a program called the Apple Developer Program, which gives you access to both the iOS store and the App Store. Okay, so that's the yearly license. And you should sign up to that because even if you're not developing, you get access to all the advanced features. And there's also an enterprise program. So if you're developing in-house apps, that as well. So definitely sign up. Okay. Then we've got playgrounds. Playgrounds are great. So this is only available for Swift. So playgrounds is basically like an interactive environment where it runs your code as you type it. Okay. So historically, it's testing your code, you have to build it, compile it, run it, make changes, compile, run it in the cycle. With playgrounds, it's basically a wrapper or something. You can embed resources, and the idea is it gives you kind of like a visual look at what your code's doing very quickly. And it's a great way of kind of experimenting with codes. I've got some quick demos here, so show what it looks like. So in Xcode, you can do a new playground. Okay, so I can do a new playground like so. And basically, it's just an interactive text file. So basically, on the left-hand side, your code goes in here. So as you type code in, it reruns it, and you get the output on the right-hand side of what that command has done. So I've got some examples. So for instance, this one creates a kind of a loop, creates a kind of sine wave loop. So as it runs round, it tells me how many times it's run this loop. And if I look at the inspector on the right-hand side, I can get a graphical representation of what that loop did, basically. Try and do it in a you'd be hours trying to do this. Okay, so very visual way of looking at your codes. I've got one kind of you techies. I've got one that calculates prime numbers. So there's a function that creates prime numbers, and in real time you can see what the function's doing. So if I down here I can specify how many blocks I want to find. So 150. I did 1,000 this morning. It crashed and showed. So, okay, but in real time you can see what the function your code's doing, and any time you can go in and kind of investigate what it's doing at that kind of point in time. So again, you know, it's all real time kind of feedback, and you can even do graphical stuff. There you go. There you go. That's where it crashed. So, for instance, if you're doing things like stuff with the UI, so this is an example that basically creates a color. So this command creates a color. So on the right-hand side, it shows you the color it's created and the color mix. So if you change this very quickly to something like blue, and it reruns it, you get representation. And then this command just creates a string of certain font size and color. And again, you can bring up quick look, and it shows you real time what it's going to look like. So I can change the font size, for instance. And it changes it. I can change the color back to red, and in real time it shows you that again. So very nice way of kind of visually looking at your code. There's a nice one from Apple. This one creates Mandelbrot sets. Okay, so it takes a few seconds to run, but eventually, there you go, starts populating it. So again, you can tweak your algorithms, and you can just play with it, and then in real time see what's going on. So playgrounds are great for kind of that sort of stuff. Okay, so makes it easy to learn things as well. Okay, so if you're experimenting, it makes it more accessible to you guys. Okay, so that's the playground. Okay, the next environment is called REPL. This is basically an interactive language shell for the command line. So REPL stands for Read, Evaluate, Print Loop. So the idea is it's an interactive environment in the command line. You can type your Swift code into it, and it basically runs it. So it's basically a command line version of the playground, basically. So again, in real time, you can put your functions in and have a play with that. Okay, so that's kind of REPL. And then the final one is you can create scripts. So in the same way you can create Python scripts and Bash scripts, you can create Swift scripts. So these have a .swift extension. And once you create a Swift script, there's two ways to run these. You can either pass it through the Swift command line tool, or you can use Shebang and run them directly, basically. So a simple script, it's a plain text file. You put your code into it, okay, and then to run that script, you just in the command line just type Swift space and then the file name, and it will execute that in the command line. If you want to run it directly, you can put your standard Shebang line in at the top, just tell it where you can find Swift, and then you can run it directly. So you can give it a execute permission, and then you can run that file directly rather than having to run it with Swift to the command line. So a bit like Bash and Python, they can all do that. So you can run it, in place of Python or something like that, just to do automation or something like that from the command line. And one nice thing you can do is you can also compile these scripts. So, if you want to kind of protect your intellectual property or doing in some way, we can compile these to a binary. So one here, I've got an example script. Again, it's that prime number. So if I run up the terminal again, make it a bit bigger. Okay, can you see that? Yeah. So I've got one here prepared earlier. So if I just change directory quickly. Okay. So I've got a script here, and to compile it, there's a command called swiftc. Okay, so I can just do that. I can pipe in the text file. That compiles it, and now I've got a binary, a Unix executable command. So I can now run that as any other binary, and I can pass in how many primes I want, and then it calculates them. So you can convert them to binaries, let's say. Okay. I think I'm on time, so that's me done. So. Swiftly 15 minutes. Oh no, sorry. There is one more. Sorry, Charlie would kill me if that. Okay, so 3 more. Sorry, almost there. So 2 more slides, 3 more slides. So one thing is Apple going to open source this. So they are going to open source the language. So what they promised to do is to port the compiler to obviously OS 10 for OS 10 and iOS, and also for Linux. No timescale yet. So they are going to be open to the community, obviously suggestion changes, but they only porting the compiler and the standard Swift library. So they're not porting all the Cocoa framework. So don't expect to build iOS apps on Linux. That's not going to happen. And as far as usage goes, this is the stats from June. So this is kind of the top 20 languages being used at this current time. So Objective-C's dropped. It used to be number 3 or 4. So that's kind of dropped as Swift has kind of come in. So Swift is now at an 18. It sounds quite low, but Swift was the first language ever to get into the top 20 in 1 year. So it's done quite well on that one. And if you want more information, if you go to developer.apple.com, they've got loads of information on Swift. If you go to the iBook store, Apple got a really good book on Swift you can download for free. And of course, we run training courses, so you can speak to me later on if you want to. Yes, good.
Question.
Yes.
So, Richard.
Hello.
You're now stuck where you are.
Yes.
The Amsys HTTP app services test, do they by yourself or?
By myself, yes.
Anybody else use them? Yeah, the services test, anybody else use the HTTP kind of apps?
Revise that. Thank you. Yeah. And then you can tell me that it crashes all the time. Cool. Right, who's next? There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's good.
With the move on. Other large now. I'm large on the new. Okay. My name's James. I work at I started a fun little company. There we go. Based on I'm impressed with it. Else at the moment, I decided to do my own thing. That's the man who zero balls. There we go. So what we do. You like that, don't you? I think complete ignorance of the entire market would be good. So we deliver rapid multi-context JSSs from our cloud service. These are pre-configured using but outside of this, it's not just about the Casper Suite, really, it's about generally delivering automation to whatever you do in your job. We're all Mac admins. Who's actually Casper here? Monkey? Okay. Awesome. I'm equally in the fairy gorilla. The Casper admins, who's the API? 3. Pathetic. Right. Okay. We also deliver platform automation. So we're talking about a JSS from 0 to fully configured 30 seconds. That's what we consider as acceptable. Okay. So none of this. Can we do this and do this? No. If you look at the API, as I'm going to go through these steps, you're going to see what can be done. Okay. Last bit there was a jam. So hold no sales pitches. So we're going to continue. Right. What we automate? Okay. Okay. I make loads of mistakes. I nearly deleted 500 kids worth of work yesterday using Monkey if I wasn't a little less hungover, I would have probably spotted the problem. This is a big thing, okay? Equally, I don't want people that I hire or employ going to site and doing the same job time and time again. It costs me money. Okay? Our clients also get a lot more value from what we deliver, because ultimately, if we've done it for one customer, we can go to the next customer and go, rinse and repeat. We've been here before, we've scripted it, we can do it again. Oh yeah. I am a lady, and that is why I always tell all my customers, if I have already been here before, I don't want to do it again. Okay, I'm not coming here again. Okay, so here's a little scenario, something I dreamed up last Saturday. My wife was having a go at me for not spending enough time with our son. I was upstairs in the office, and I was like, you know, what would I do with an API? Here's the scenario. So, yes! Excel! Come on! No one? That minis? Yeah! Oh, yeah! Right. Move away! Okay. Right. So I thought the scenario, right, how about we migrate from the old version we had in Workflow Manager, the updates, to the new MDM platform using an API. So I'm going to go through the rigmarole and process of demoing you the fact that one machine from a magician days actually has nothing on it. It is a pure and clean machine. We're going to roll it into our platform. And this will have its essentially MDM capability. So this stuff got yeah, it's still like you can do self-service. What do you mean? You install something? Yeah, okay. Will it download something? So there we go. We're going to install something. It's going to do usual stuff, and off we go. And I spotted a bit of my anally retentiveness on the way up here, where I actually quit the browser in a demo session before launching. Wasn't necessary. There's more to. So you can see how we got system preferences. You can see this device is now on to MDM. So, next steps. Let's go to a legacy 10.9 machine. Let's go to the same JSX. And let's log on there. Let's see what we can play with. Here we go. So, go to our computers. We're going to search for the device we've just enrolled. Here we can see that it is MDM capable, and we're going to dive down and see which profiles we've got. You can see we've got an MDM profile, and we've got block people. Gilbert. And there's something else configuration profiles. We can see here is development group. We can see we've got one computer assigned to that development group. And if you look here, these are the configuration profiles we currently have active within our system. So, what do we want to do now? So, we're going to zip out to a couple of things. One is the old school methods. So let's look at a bit of Workflow Manager. Okay, right, so we're going to import a load of stuff, old preferences that we used to have. Please tell me all of you had these in your suitcase. Okay, right, there's a few here. So we're going to adjust the few of these preferences. These functions of Workflow Manager. So we can see in here, we can actually go into any of these preferences. You can see we've got a few keys set. Okay. There's a couple of settings there. I miss it. There's deep love. There's deep love. Okay. Right, so what I'm going to do now is run a couple of bits of awful code that I wrote to essentially automate. I could be at a customer site. Right, what have you got? Let's take your weight in this Mac Mini. Let's see what we can do. So we're going to output these configuration profiles, this XML to a configuration profile in order to. And then this is what my wife was moaning, what are you doing upstairs? And I just knocked this together. So what this would do, always. Okay, so we're going to take that output as XML in my locked dark office upstairs, and we're going to take it off. So how are we sending information to the JSS? Okay, we're sending this up by the API. This could be 20 preferences, this could be whatever we've got. The idea here is about trying to use the JSS tool. So if we refresh this, we can now see the same XML that's come from Workgroup Manager has been dumped as an MDM profile straight into Casper. Okay, it's the same files. It's just XML. Okay, and you can see it's automatically assigned to. Yes, and magic watch and a bit of purple. Okay, so if we look down at the client, so a client has been involved in MDM, now see those same preferences being delivered. Okay, inside those M6 profiles, you'll see the preference keys. Basically, what has just been delivered out from Workgroup Manager. Okay, so you've taken what has been there as a legacy item and converted it into what Apple now accepts, and you're delivering now as a managed preference. If anyone used the subs tool, M6 profile, okay, it's a great tool. Log out there, now see the login window message applies, and the wallpaper delivered there. So this is all possible using the JSS API. Okay. What is it? For those people who are not using it, you should be shot as a sysadmin. Go to your JSS/API. You will find, yeah, exactly. It's just something that I've encountered, and I have been of my own neglect as well. It is there, but we are not using it, and it is so powerful. Okay, it is really easy scriptable. Please use that post and put, and it uses URL. Okay, use that. Okay. Anyone who needs that, let me know. I will send you the code. It's very easy. You need to work out what resource certain resources take to get a post or a post, depending on whether you need to update or actually replace or put in the first place. You can work this out as part of variables. Okay, so you can actually, as part of our deployment process for a new JSS, it is 30 seconds. Okay, not 2 days. 30 seconds to pre-configured JSS using these same commands. When we go back, it's like back in time. Whoa! Hang on. Oh, you've broken it! Fair enough. There we go. Okay, so what I've used this at a certain site that had Ruckus, that had a load of iPads. I'm giving you a scenario now, it's not a presentation, and I've had 5 pints. The scenario was, in my old clubbing days, the scenario was basically they had Ruckus Wi-Fi, they had an iPad that was already enrolled into MDM. How about when the user goes to enroll into the Wi-Fi, okay, when they join the iPad to the Wi-Fi network, it would then update the wireless controller with their username and password and a MAC address, then use the API scriptable from whatever you're digging out from those logs from the wireless controller to update via the API to the JSS, find a device with this MAC address in it, and update it with the username, and that will give you a device assignment by signing on to a wireless access point. So Yeah. I don't know, sales APIs and all the other bits and pieces. It's just think outside the box. Okay. So what I'm going to show you here is if you go to your JSS API, you will find a host, and there's a going high, and there are literally, if you can work out your ideas, you can take XML from that and you can use it elsewhere. Loads of time. Absolutely. Exactly. Just now need to because that's exactly what you should be doing as a sysadmin. And when we deploy a JSS, 10 JSSs, 30 JSSs in a month, you cannot afford to be sitting there going, oh, I'm going to create another smart group, and these are going to be the criteria. These codes are going to be formatting massively. So you are posting XML to an API, so the content or the payload needs to be. So what we're on about here is your greater than and less than. No, needs to be worked on. So a said or pardon? No. You could. And then you could hire me for a day. But basically, less than greater than. Anyway, so you can validate any XML you will get. Next week, you get an error code back. Previously, you need that. And you get error code going, oh no, this isn't good, it doesn't work, blah, blah. Just paste that same code, that same XML, go to the XML validator, there, and it's or at least where you logged on. Further information on this, just on my blog post, there, or you can check out Developer Connect, which is also there. Is there any questions? You can find me on Mac Admin Slack. Talking about sugar and trying to beat off assaults from Mr. Gilbert and Tom. But yes, you will find me on there. But if anyone has any questions around the API and how this would work at play in their workplace, then I'm happy to. Sorry, I'm not taking any fashion advice from a man that looks like he's come out of the country in West. Thank you very much on that note. And what I find actually ironic is that 10 years ago I used to turn up to a nightclub and pull out vinyl, and this time I'm walking up to a place and pulling out a laptop and talking about geeky stuff. I find it very surreal. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. Oh, they do, don't they? Yeah, I'm actually quiet on the Microsoft Flight Container. No, it's free. It's free. Next. What club you in? Club you in, son?
let's crack on with this. I'll make it short and hopefully not too painful. So I'm going to be talking about Imagr. Imagr, depending on how angry you're feeling at the time. Yeah, it's exactly like Grinder. It's in fact identical to Grinder. Assuming that you use Grinder to deploy your Macs, in which case I feel sorry for your clients. Right, so start off with, and you've turned off the history of Imagr can be traced back quite a way. Come on. There we go. So a lot of this is down to this chap, Papine. He made this. I can't take any credit for it, but that's how you pronounce his name. And in 2013, he released a tool called Auto Imagr MBI. No, Auto MBI. Auto Imagr MBI is made by someone else. It's a script that will automatically generate a net install set. I found it interesting, but not particularly useful to me, so I set it to one side. It didn't really solve any problems for me. I couldn't add any additional packages. It just made a net install set. So, okay, it's interesting, but little did I know, he was using it for quite a different purpose. So a year passed, and I met Papine again at MacTech. He was giving a talk on Docker, and he brought up a netboot server. It was all very exciting. He did a live netboot. And he also had this really spiffy app that he used for imaging. I started asking him about it, and it turned out he was using Auto MBI to launch this app. So I promptly tried to work out how he was doing it, did my own, but I couldn't do it, so I gave up again. And yes, this is chocolate covered bacon. God bless America. So then I had a little bit of time whilst I was handing over my last job. So I turned my mind back to Papine's awesome app, and I started putting my mind to trying to get something to work. And I badged him for ages on IRC. This is before Slack existed, so we're in IRC. And he basically helped me get my app working. And then I made him make Auto MBI put Python into the net install set, so I wouldn't need to bother learning another language because I'm lazy, and no one else knew Swift at the time, so we did Python. So why did I make this? There are some people who will question the need for Imagr. They will live in the land of milk and honey. They never need to re-image a Mac. All their techs are the best in the world. They can fix any problem just by looking at it. And every single new employee gets a brand new Mac. They never need to re-image a machine ever. Good for them. They can use DP, and it works every time. Yeah. Yeah, that won't really work, does it? I re-image Macs all the time. I'm sure most people do. Yeah. Anyway. So, yeah. Anyway. So the obvious choice when you need to nuke an OS is net restore. You can build an image and it's going to deploy it. It's really basic though. There's no option to just install packages. If you want to do a thin deployment, you have to restore an image. And there's no authentication as well. So you are going to get someone accidentally leaning a book on the N key, clicking next, and having a white Mac. And then you're going to get the blame for it, because that's what happens to us. So it's free, it works, but it's not very fancy. So the next option is Deploy Studio. It's an incredibly powerful tool. But come on, seriously, it does everything. It will probably make you a cup of tea if you asked it. And I know there are going to be those amongst you who don't care what silly little servers run crucial bits of your infrastructure. I prefer not to have to rely to get a Mac Mini in a data center. I like having 10 gig Ethernet into my deployment servers without having external boxes. I like being able to have my server team look after the hardware. I don't like trusting my deployment infrastructure to a company that has a proven track record of stuffing up their server product. No one knows who makes Deploy Studio. It's rumoured to be some French employees of a certain fruit company, but we don't know. And it's also close. This means if these mysteries decide to stop making Deploy Studio, you're all left dead in the water. And I'm not for 1 second suggesting they might be hiding anything in there, but if they were, you wouldn't know. It's closed source, it's compiled file. So because of the limitations I started work on Imagr. It's a little app that'll do a lot of what the Push Studio does, but it doesn't need OS 10 server. Let's face it, if you're doing it right, your image should have practically nothing in it. OS 10, maybe an admin user and a way of hooking it into your config management system. Installing Monkey or a Casper quick app package or something like that. I designed Imagr to be simple from the outset. It gets its config from a dumb web server. It deploys images, it installs packages, it runs scripts. That's it. There's no task like setting a language or creating admin users or binding to AD or anything like that. You should be using your config management tool for that, not your deployment tool. So if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, someone else is going to continue developing. And you'll probably all be really chuffed because I'm not around anymore. There are already loads of people contributing to Imagr. The project went from initial commit to first beta release in about 3 weeks. It's been a real community effort. And Imagr is written in Python. It's a language that many Mac admins are comfortable with. And as an aside, if you're not comfortable with Python, you probably should be. Imagr was nearly going to be my first Swift project, but I doubt I'd have got anywhere near the contributions I have if I hadn't changed it to Python. And I've said before, you don't need anything particularly fancy to run an Imagr server. You just need someone to host a config file and someone to host your packages and images. So this is an Imagr config plist, and you really can't read that, so we'll skip straight over that. So what can Imagr do? I kind of touched on this before, but it can restore images, it can store packages, it can run scripts, and it does loads of other stuff. You can name the computer, you can partition a disk, you can nest workflows if you want. So since I put the first release of Imagr online, there's been a few projects that have spun up to support Imagr. There's MBI Creator. It's written by Eric Bergerland. I really hope I said that right. It'll make a plain old net install image, it'll make a Flow Studio image, and most importantly, it'll make an image for Imagr. Who cares? And this will set up things like ARD into your net install set, and it will set time server and language and stuff like that. And some idiot called Matt Mule made auto Imagr MBI.
Literally me in the room.
So the main difference between this one and all the others is that it makes a full net boot. That means you can add in extra apps if you need to, and it's running a full OS, so you're not really limited to what you can do with a net install set. But it does come at the cost of a much bigger image. And there's a reporting server as well. It's kind of basic. It's more of a proof of concept. Hopefully someone else would jump in with it, but they haven't. So there you go. Bootstrap. So, demo. Let's hope this works. Where's my .com? Oh, I do weird things. Right, so here we have a 1011 GM. Yep. After 5 beers. Let's go for it. Yeah, this is not going to go well. Let's face it, this is not going to go well. Yeah, this is not going to go well, is it? Anyway. Yeah. Let's try and net boot this thing. So now is probably an appropriate time for questions while we pray that netboot works. Any? No, netboot did not work. No, that's not netbooting. It's far too quick. It's highly possible. I didn't actually.
No, nothing involved.
No. No one can be bothered, so. Absolutely, it's just an app. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. My IP is not different. I have one which then redirects via Nginx redirect, but you could, because it's a make file to build the MBI, you can just inject you bash script it to record it. But mine redirects. So I'm just restarting my NetBoot server. Yeah, we point to a config plist and it pulls all that stuff down from the web server. So as we'll see, yeah, it's just a Python injected C app. Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, I use it quite obviously somewhat large requirements, but we want to build a map completely with voice capture. Quite easy. You get one app in your API, and then one XML and something in your way. You deploy API in GeoAnchor with the deployment. It's really great. If you want to make it simple, it's really great. If you want to make it complicated, you can complicate the XML, but it's yeah, I'm not going smoke, but it works. That carbon copy planner.
Yeah. You can run fast, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry, this boot's a lot quicker at home because mine is a bit quicker. We're probably going to call this quits because well, no, we're going to call this not booting. Yeah. Well, pre-recorded demos are for wins. NetBoot works? What are you talking about? You need to talk to your network admin. You need to talk to your network admin, seriously. Alright, we're going to give up on this because we're drinking into valuable pub time. Yeah, well, what can we say? Let's give up on this one. Yeah. No, they hated me.
Just say this is one of those things. It's one of those kind of like, if you ever like what about doing a demo live?
Don't.
So essentially, we've got reach out and stuff like James last year, all that well. Sorry, I should put something here. Last year as well. It's all recorded on video, so it doesn't like being with Fusion and other things, but essentially just kind of don't do live. It's a lovely endeavor, but when it goes wrong, you end up. I didn't say it.
Alright, we'll go to the closing and we can go down the pub.
Yeah. There we go.
Can we drink some more of this alcohol before we go, though?
Yes.
Otherwise,
it's going to screw you tomorrow.
So, if you want to hear from someone else, you should probably go to the Jump Roadshow. I'm definitely not going to be there, so that's a double bonus.
I'm talking about stuff and things, but there are other people talking about stuff and things, which is probably more exciting than me. So yeah, you can join James in the back drinking at 9 AM in the morning, and just essentially not listening to me. So that's cool. Cool.
And we need a venue again. We always need venues. Our needs are incredibly modest. So if there's anyone here or who's watching the stream can host us, please let us know. Yeah, hit up, projector.
Wow. Right. Now I just like to really like.
And most important bit, pub next door. It's really hard to find.
In 1 minute. Or...
Well, there is actually a door here. So, but Google Maps got it wrong.
Unfortunately, we need to drink the beer supplied by our sponsor. They've been so graciously sponsoring. So, no, we do have to. It's a matter of principle. But I would like to say, if that's the last slide, can I just be an idiot? So this has been a year in. We talk about doing one every 3 months. Amsys sponsored the first, and now this is it's just crazy. People keep turning up. There's not always been him rabbiting on, which is very good. So yeah, obviously something happening in next year, and we want more events. We'd like more locations. We want more people to speak. We were potentially talking about a SurveyMonkey rubbishy thing about putting out there. Just come and drag us and speak to us about what you might want to see. Maybe you want more, maybe you want less. We've got to thank Amsys for and Jav, because when we started doing this in September last year, there was nothing else going on in this area. Like only a smallish kind of part in the world who might have at some point kind of overruled the rest of the world. But anyway, that's fine. But there's a Jamf event next week. Jamf are bringing back their regional user conferences, or their roadshows as they now call them. Which was back in 2011, and the event that Amsys is doing in February looks awesome. Graham did mention it earlier, but Imagr comes from Brienne, and he's one of the speakers at the event in February. We've also got Rich Troughton. If you ever read anything about File Vault, then essentially you read Richard's blog. And if you ever seen any of the PSU videos, there's something a little bit different about some of the events and stuff. You're going to have a lot of those speakers involved as well. So you're going to have the whole gambit of kind of information from people around the world turning up, which we just realised that this whole kind of pub venture became a little bit too big, and realised that there was probably 20 people, 30 people wanting to turn up for a bit of a chat and then go to the pub or not, whatever. And Amsys have just taken the bull by the horns and created a great event that I hope you can all attend. And we hope it just carries on. It's great. We've got this formation, this London thing. It'd be great to get more people involved. Yeah. And we want you all to speak as well. All right. So obviously Guinness is cheap here, yeah. But we want you all to speak as well, because and this is the thing. The idea of this group is not just for us to talk about what we do, or a couple of other people. If you're struggling with something, with some topic, and you want 5 minutes to talk about it at an event, talk about it for 5 minutes. So you're struggling with X, Y, and Z, whatever. Just stand up and introduce yourself. We're a community. We're friends. Apart from an agony aunt session. But we want to try and create something, and I think it's going to work, and I hope we can get more buy-in from you guys, and just thank you for sticking with us.
Awesome. Thank you.